have a conversation, or I do this a lot in class. Literally during my lecture, I'll pause and go, did you say that right? Or that didn't sound right. And I'll jump back or after the class, I'll think about what I said, and I'll have a kind of a dialogue with myself. Was that explained well? Did you think the students understood it? I'll even think back to the students' expressions, what they said, replay and then many times if I reteach that class, I'll, implement some of those. Because sometimes I'll teach multiple sections of the same class.
Right.
So many times I will clean up things in the spring, in the afternoon that I maybe didn't do as well in the morning and that kind of stuff.
And that's such a high degree of intentionality that you're talking about, because you're talking about having a really specific purpose, delivering it, and then really being thoughtful about the feedback that your environment is giving to you, and then talking yourself through the entire. How
would this sound better? How would I do it? Again, sometimes it happens split second too. As I'm speaking, I'm going, that sounded crappy. You're going to have to clean that up. That didn't, you know what I mean? And I'll literally, or a student will ask a question and I'll think, and even as I'm answering it, feedback just looping back and forth really quick. But I wonder with newer faculty or new coaches, they don't do any of that. They're just talking, and the next day they go, practice went terrible. I'm not sure what even happened. They don't doesn't even happen that day. It's like the next day when they're brushing their teeth, they're like, that was crap. What was I thinking? Why didn't I give that student feedback on that terrible technique, lowering his head, whatever? What was that? Why didn't I say anything?
Yeah.
You start and you go, it's a little late now.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they're just, like I said, when you're a beginner, there's this stuff just hitting you. There's just, you're not comfortable. You're saying it maybe for the first time. And so
when did it start to slow down for you then? Like, how many, does it take years? Does it take was there a point where you're like, I got to slow this thing down and be more thoughtful?
Because I remember the first year I taught, and some of it happens when I teach a new class for the first time. I remember my first year of college, I was thinking, maybe I need to find a new career. This is way too much work. Time you go through your lectures, it's just, you literally you're lucky if you can stay 3 days ahead of class. That's how much hard work it takes to put together the first lectures. At least I felt. I've talked to other people the same way.
Sure.
Now, some people don't teach. They just push slides and just talk and, don't go much of anything. And the students don't learn. But, real teaching, real coaching takes preparation. It takes work. The first time through is just lots of work. You're trying to anticipate questions. But once you've gone through it the first time, I was thinking, thank goodness, the second year, the third year, boy, this isn't bad at all. But I was like, I don't know if I can make this. This is just, I can't even keep up. And then you got to make tests and you got to grade assignments and I'm like going, I didn't know it was this much stupid work. This is ridiculous.
Right.
Don't do this. But you don't realize, and I wonder if new coaches the same way, they're overwhelmed initially until they get their feet under them and now they can start to anticipate and it's not so much work. I mean, it's not like you don't know this material. You've had, I've been, the amount of credits I've taken is just a stupid amount of classes I've taken. But it's different when you have to present it and engage people and field questions and make tests and grade labs and do labs. It's just, now it seems, that when the virus came up, I felt some of that same stress. A lot of faculty were sharing that. They said they felt like it was their first year.
Right.
Because there were so many barriers now that
full reinvention for a lot of people. Yeah.
Practice or in a live class, those barriers weren't there. Now they're there.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do now?
What are you gonna do now? That's totally
and some
right.
You just can't. Some of you have to say, I'm just not doing it. We're just like some of my labs. We can't do these virtually. Virtually is not going to work. It's not going to.
Well, and really, it's so you're so spot on, because it all comes back to the same idea, which is it's an awareness, it's an intentionality, and then the mantra that we use over and over again in our work is, does your behavior match your goal? And in this moment in time, the recognition that some stuff has to get cut from the curriculum, I mean, that's as important as translating what stays to the virtual or for the virtual environment. There's no question. And the other thing that you mentioned that has become so clear to me, and I'm trying to push, especially for a lot of young coaches and a lot of young folks that we work with, is do the hard stuff. Sometimes we go period, hard, full stop, but do the hard stuff, because then it gets easier. You know what I mean? Because there's so much, in my opinion, there's so much stress avoidance that, could you imagine if you had gone through those early years, put all this stuff together, but didn't do it very well, maybe didn't keep a record of it, maybe, you know, didn't listen to the feedback of the kids, whatever. Well, then you got to reinvent, you got to do all of it again. You know, if you put in 60% effort, then you got to put 60% effort in the next year. You got to keep redoing that. Whereas if you do it, if you go all in and really try, then you can return to it in a way that ultimately down the road doesn't require as much effort. And I think that's a hard thing for people to see. They want, you know, a lot of people want to take their break on the front end.